Hello everybody, my name is Zen and season 25 of Diablo 3 is live. It is really cool, and of course, just like every season, I'm going to go through everything you need to do for completing your seasonal journey to get this super rad Diablo pet and portrait. Before we get started, I do want to point out that this Diablo pet is super cool. As you can see, they're animating and everything. But there is another Diablo pet already in the game, and I wanted to show the difference. So this one is the same size, but it's kind of got like the fire coming out of it. It's a little less, I don't even know what you want to call it. It's just a little less of whatever it is. In fact, I'm going to change. Oh, goodness. I was going to change a color settings here. Can I change it? No. All right. Well, you're not going to get too much of a difference here, but yeah, you've got that. And then the other one is a bit beefier, like across the shoulders. I don't even know where it went. There it is. And it's got more of like the cool spike thing going on. It's just different. It's just a different Diablo pet. I like this one a lot. I think it is an improvement, this model is, and the texture is. And just in general, the past few seasons have been really cool little pets that they've been adding, good models on them and everything. So what are you going to do to finish your season as quickly as possible? We're going to start with chapters 1 through 4, and then I'm going to go backwards because that just is the best way to do it. So with chapters 1 through 4, you're going to be getting your set that for the season. It's different for each class. You're also going to be getting the, I think it's the Inarius portrait frame. Is that what they call it? It was one of those. I don't remember the name of it. We can look it up because it's going to bother me if I don't remember. But you also get that little bear pet, which is quite cool. I think it's nice to go back and get some of the seasonal stuff that people may have missed. Yeah, Imperius. Sorry, I don't know why I said Inarius. But this is the final one on it. Yeah, this is a repeat of some stuff from a previous season between the portrait frames and the pet, but that's fine because finishing the season, you get the unique stuff for that season. So the first thing you'll need to do to get all of your armor sets is to finish up through chapter 4. And then you also get the portrait and everything for getting to that point. So for chapter 4, the thing you need to focus on is getting to 70 and doing the key warden stuff, which that's fine. You'll do that eventually once you hit 70. Don't worry about that too much. The key here is to get Belial and Gome dead on at least Torment 2 and then Torment 4 once you hit 70, and then reach Greater Rift 20 solo. Every class can do this pretty simply, especially with your first couple pieces of your set. Like, for example, the Leap Quake set for the Barbarian is okay. You don't get your big damage bonus until the 6th set, but you still can like get the two-handed mighty weapon that increases the damage of earthquake and whatever. So that's not that big of a deal. But I say this every season. You have to do 5 blacksmith recipes, easy peasy, and 5 jewel crafting recipes. For me, I always find the easiest way to do this is around level 50 or like 55, 60-ish to go complete all of the bounties. So you do a full run of bounties, you complete every act, but you do not turn them in to Tyrael until you hit 70. Once you hit 70, you turn them all in, you turn all 5 acts in, and then you open all of the caches up. And the key is once you're 70, you can get jewel crafting recipes from those caches. So you kind of are killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're leveling at the same time as going and getting those bounties and recipes done. So right when you hit 70, this is already complete. You can, start going through and getting everything else. That's just a little trick that I do every season. And then we're going to go backwards from Guardian to Slayer. But before we do that, because it's relevant, I'm going to show you what the seasonal theme is. So this season, you will be getting these unique gems that drop. There are primal soul shards and the lesser soul shards, I think is what it's called. Some can be socketed into weapons and some can be socketed into helms, and they upgrade. So like this is a level 1 fragment of destruction. You move unhindered through enemies. Each enemy you pass through receives a mark of destruction for 7 seconds. Each marked enemy that dies removes 1 second from one of your skills on cooldown. If the mark of destruction expires before the enemy dies, you lose 2% of your max health as damage. Marks are not applied if you're below 35% health that one is super complicated as the way that it's written, but some of them aren't. Just like you deal 25% less damage, your pets deal 25% increased damage. There's other effects on this. So like for instance, the one that I have in my weapon here, it starts out every time you deal poison damage to an enemy. I'm a barb. I'm not dealing poison damage. You increase the cooldown reduction, or you increase your cooldown reduction and movement speed by 2.5%, while your damage received is increased by 5% for 10 seconds, max of 10 stacks. But the thing that is quite good for me is the secondary effect that gets put on as we level up these gems. I'll explain how you do that in a second. When you kill an enemy, you deal damage done by the death blow to all enemies within 25 yards. Pets and followers cannot trigger this effect. So if I'm like speed farming with this whirlwind set, then anytime something dies to the rend damage, because that's the primary source of my damage, it explodes that damage to everything nearby, and it just absolutely demolishes stuff. It's quite good. Then I have this one in the helm, which your cooldowns are increased by 25%. For every skill on cooldown, you take 12.5% reduced damage and deal 12.5 reduce or increased damage. It's quite good. It's not great for this build, but it works. Your attack speed and critical hit chance are increased by 5% for each skill on cooldown. Again, not great, but it works for now. The thing is, these have randomized stats when you level them up. So for example, this one has dexterity, but this one that I rolled over here, which is max level, has no dexterity on it. In fact, you'll notice that this one has resource cost reduction and cooldown, but this one has resource or cooldown, resource cost, and reduces damage from ranged attacks by 20%. So there are some randomized stats on these, and some of them are really cool. So just go through and get them. They have a higher chance of dropping off of bosses than anything else, but that includes like Greater Rift Guardians or Rift Guardians. So just keep that in mind. The way you upgrade them is with the Hellforge Ember. It's like a Ramalandi's GIF. When it drops, it's like one of these. It just randomly drops. They drop a lot more frequently than the gift does, but the Hellforge Ember just used to upgrade your gems. And there's a bit of a long tail on some of these gems because, if you're trying to not get dexterity on the Sliver of Terror, then you're going to need to find some and then level them up with the things. So in my opinion, the previous season 24 with the ethereals was cooler. I like the ethereal items more. I like the long tail of that season of collecting them for the transmog, but this is also quite cool because it experiments with a unique idea of having new gems to use that we wouldn't otherwise use, and they're only for the season. And it removes the whole meta of just constantly doing emeralds in your weapon and a diamond in your helm, and now there's some more stuff that you can do. So before we go and work our way backwards in the seasonal journey to show you everything that you will need to do to finish it completely, I'm going to just jump into Conquests. You need to finish 3 Conquests to finish the entire seasonal journey. These are the 3 that I suggest doing this season. They're the easiest. Reach Greater Rift level 75 solo. That's convenient because you need to reach Greater Rift level 70 for finishing the season. So why not just bump it up 5 more levels and go do 75 solo? If you're farming on Torment 16, you can do this. Even if you're not farming on Torment 16, you can definitely do this. This is an achievable goal. People farm into the hundreds of Greater Rift levels now fairly easily. Even people who don't consider themselves like super hardcore into Diablo. It just requires you having the right items for specific builds, and most builds nowadays can absolutely crush a 75 solo. So don't worry about that. This is going to be the easiest one and probably the first one that you do. On top of that, there is the Thrill, which is reach Greater Rift level 45 solo without any set items equipped. Any green item, you cannot have it equipped. Make sure, because you're doing the solo, that you have your follower out, and just come up with a basic build. So for example, the Barbarian can use the Hammer of the Ancients build using the 2-handed mighty weapon, which increases the damage of it. And then the bracers, which increase the damage and attack speed of it. So you could just do Hammer of the Ancients with some random other legendaries and it's going to work just fine. A lot of classes have that kind of thing where you could just use a supporting weapon for a specific skill that does a lot of damage, and then maybe 1 or 2 other supporting items for that, and just go and crush the 45 solo. If you're having issues with it, the other option is to use the Legacy of Dreams legendary gem, which you level up. I would put it to about 25, and then it should be fine. And then you get extra damage based on having legendaries on that are not set items and ones that are ancient. And then you just put a bunch of legendary items on, or ancient legendaries, and you'll get a bunch of additional damage out of that. So if you're having an issue with this one, just throw on that legendary gem, which you'll get simply by doing greater rifts. Then the final one is curses. This one is different. This one is not easy for some people, but my suggestion is to go into Act 5 and find the Cursed Peat Cursed Chest event, which is not that difficult to find. If you don't even need the bounty for it. You could just go to the specific area on the map and get it that way. So that is one specific way of doing it. That's what I suggest, is just finding the Cursed Peat event, not necessarily the bounty. It is obviously a lot easier if you have the bounty. An additional thing to do, though, that I do suggest is just going to communities and finding like a Conquest community like this in your region and just be in chat with it and look for people who might have this event up. Oftentimes people like myself this season was just like, hey, I've got the event, come and do this. And keep in mind, it's on Torment 10 difficulty or higher, not like Torment 13. So it's pretty easy to farm out. You just have to kill 350 more monsters during that event. And it's fairly easy to absolutely crush it. So let's work backwards through our seasonal journey real quick, just so you can see the things to do. The reason I'm working backwards is because you're gonna plan for a lot of this stuff and do it as you go. So for example, the extract 40 legendary powers, this is something that you're just going to be doing anyways. You're going to need to do some bounties or maybe some challenge rifts, because those give some bounty materials as well. To get enough bounty materials to do this, I don't suggest farming bounties early, like a lot of them early, because if you get a speed build going, then the bounties are going to be faster. And do bounty runs, if you don't have any friends to run with, do them in public groups, because then you can do split bounties and everybody can go work on their own bounties, and it gets done really, really fast. So you're going to already be doing this. We've already mentioned Greater Rift 70 solo. That's a goal. Get to 75 and get that one done. Kill Magda at level 70 in under 10 seconds on Torment 13. Man, this is a breeze compared to some of the other ones that they've had in the past. Just go kill Magda. Like I did it on Torment 16 with the Whirlwind build. I didn't even consider the time frame. I just walked in and killed her and got it. You have to complete the 3 conquests, as we've said. Don't bother doing any of the other ones like Sprinter or anything. It just takes too much time. Level 3 gems to level 70. This is important. I say this every season. Just level 3 gems to 70. Pick 3 and just level them up. Ones that can get to 70. So for example, the Boon of the Hoarder can only go to 50. So get 3 gems leveled up to level 70. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that in a moment. And then finish the level 70 Nephilim Rift on Torment 13 within 4 minutes. Oh my goodness, that's a breeze. Don't even worry about it. That's really easy. Just get your gear together, get your full set together, and go and do that. You can do it on Torment 16. It's really easy. Now, we were putting in a pin for the level 70 gems because what I think that is the most efficient way of getting your season done every season is getting those 3 gems to 70. Taking one of them and trashing them for the power amplification. So use Kanai's Cube to augment an ancient legendary item with a level 50 plus gem. So you're taking your level 70 gem and you're doing the augment recipe on an ancient item, and you're removing one of those 70 gems, sure, but it's kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You already leveled a gem for this. Towards the end of your seasonal journey, then you could trash one of your gems, and if you continue to play, you can level that one back up if you really want to, but that's the easiest way to do that. There isn't a whole lot left here other than some of the bosses. You have to kill Greed. You can get to the Greed realm by either opening one up with a puzzle ring. Just put a puzzle ring in the Kanai's Cube and with nothing else, and then transmute it, and it'll open up a portal to the realm. The other thing here, though, is if you want to get to the vault, or you want to farm out the vault, if you level a character to level 31 and then spend your blood shards on rings, you'll have a fairly easy time of finding puzzle rings, because there's like, especially if it's a crusader, there's only 3 rings, legendary rings, that you can get at level 31, level 31 being the level that puzzle rings become available for gambling. Yeah, and then you'll get a bunch of puzzle rings that way. So if you need to do it that way. It's pretty easy to get to level 31, or have someone power level you to just to 31. Don't go beyond that. Then we have Rage Greater Rift 60 solo. So you see why we go backwards, because you're already doing the 70, so that doesn't really matter. And then kills Cydia at level 70 in under 30 seconds on Torment 13, also fairly easy. So we're not worried about any of this. Complete 2 conquests, level our gems, finish a Nephilim Rift. Like, by doing these things, we're completing 99% of our journey anyways. You have to craft the Hellfire Amulet. You'll do that with the Key Wardens and everything. Then we have just normal boss kills. The one that I am going to call out here is the Master Any Set Dungeon. I haven't done any set dungeon guides, but I'm considering it, because if you complete all of the set dungeons, I don't know if people really know this anymore. This was a known thing like a year or 2 ago. But if you complete all the set dungeons, you get these wings. If you master all of the set dungeons, you get these wings, the Wings of Mastery. And by mastering each of the set dungeons, you for each class, you also get unique pendants. So this is the Barbarian one, this is the Wizard one, this is the Crusader one. They're really cool. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments, and then maybe I'll make a whole set of guides for each specific set dungeon. But as it stands, you do need to master a set dungeon in order to progress. And I had a fun little thing happen that I like to do during seasonal journeys. I don't know why, where I do literally everything else except the set dungeon, and then that's the final thing I do, and you complete it all at once. So for me, I'd want to just add some words of wisdom to people here. There are some set dungeons that are a lot easier than others. For example, the Wrath of the Waste set dungeon, back when I did it, when set dungeons were first released, was like the hardest thing ever. I spent all day doing it, because it has a little like asterisk of, if you want to master it, you cannot take any physical damage, which means you can't get hit by anything. And it's in the ruins of Sescheron, and there's big axes that fly around and stuff. It's so hard, and you can't just do the Wrath of the Waste set, because you kill everything, and you need to rend 10 enemies like 5 different times or something like that, and it's a nightmare. I do not recommend doing the Wrath of the Waste one. If you are planning on doing it, do like the Hammer of the Ancients one, because it's stupid easy. It's literally just kill everything and play the Immortal King set. So yeah, I don't know. I would be very cautious about which ones you choose to do. Try to look them up beforehand, where they're at and what the stuff is to finish it, and then kind of go from there. But once you do that, once you're able to master the set dungeon, that's kind of the only other big hurdle outside of getting your gems leveled up and stuff like that. Everything else you're going to be doing as you play, just keep an eye on it. On PC, you can open your seasonal journey at any time by doing Shift J. And on console, it's one of the D-pad buttons. I swear, I never remember which one it is, but it's one of the D-pad buttons to open up your seasonal journey while you play. It's an easy season, and it's got some cool rewards. I love this portrait frame. It's really, really cool. And the pet is pretty rad too. I love that they keep adding this stuff, and it just keeps getting better and better. And for me, there's always a reason to return to Diablo 3 because of these seasons, and I'm enjoying it quite a lot, especially with the new seasonal themes that we've been getting. They are like very exploratory. They're giving us new ways of playing the game that are unique and different, and quite experimental, and I like that. So with all that being said, let me know if you want to see a set dungeon guide series. Maybe I'll get started on that this winter. And with all that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we shall see you all next time.